Good evening, Mia Gradney here in the KHOU 11 newsroom, bringing you another update on a breaking news situation out of Deer Park, a chemical release at the PEMEX facility. One person has died, one hospitalized, several others injured, and we have a shelter in place effective for all of Deer Park. All Deer Park residents should be sheltering in place at this time due to this chemical release of hydrogen sulfide. We'll get to more about what that chemical is in just a moment. But right now, we want to go live to Stephen Going. He is in Deer Park, just outside the PEMEX facility. Stephen, what are you seeing from where you are?
Mia, right now on the ground, we're seeing some law enforcement right here towards the PEMEX facility. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what we're seeing here right on the ground. You'll see that there are, flashing lights. There's a lot of different law enforcement here. We have Deer Park Police. We also have the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Now, just few feet away from where this police vehicle is, it is the PEMEX facility, this refinery, where this apparent chemical leak happened earlier in the day. On social media, the city of Pasadena, they appear to identify what this chemical is. They say it's hydrogen sulfide, which we know is a colorless gas that does have a distinct smell. It smells of rotten eggs, and we are smelling some of that here on the ground. Besides this, the situation is kind of calm. Earlier, we did speak to a young man who works at a facility across the street, he said, from PEMEX. We asked him earlier today, whenever, what was going on earlier in the day. He said he didn't hear any loud sounds, nothing like an explosion. He didn't see any bright flashes. So we're not exactly sure what this leak might have looked like. But as you mentioned earlier, we do know that it did send one person to medical treatment. They were life flighted, and then tragically one person died in this incident, Mia.
Distinct smell, at least we've been hearing from people there in the area. Are you smelling anything at this moment?
Yeah, so the hydrogen sulfide, we're told, is supposed to smell like rotten eggs. When we were driving into Deer Park, it was definitely a very strong smell. That did smell, like that sulfury egg smell. We've been here on the ground for about an hour now, and that smell has dissipated, and some of the, symptoms, my eyes were kind of watering a little bit. That's kind of gone away as well. But definitely, you can smell that in the air, and that is why these shelter-in-place orders were made in Pasadena and in Deer Park. In Pasadena, that shelter-in-place has been lifted, but in Deer Park, it's still in place.
Okay, and we just want to let people know, because of course we're concerned about Stephen or anyone who might be outside at this time, because we do have a shelter in place in effect, and of course that's to ensure people's safety and as a precaution as well. We know that hydrogen sulfide in large concentrations can be very serious. In lower concentrations, it can cause headache, nausea, etc. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, please take care of yourself. Please go ahead and make sure that you are indoors. That means doors closed, windows shut, AC off at this time. Stephen, be sure to take care of yourself out there, you as well as our photographer there too. I want to get to some questions I noticed that people had on Facebook while watching this stream tonight. As some people asked me, where is this? This is in Deer Park. This is East Harris County. We first heard about this breaking situation from Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, who had posted on X about this chemical release. We also want to share that Highway 225 is closed this evening. That is due to this emergency response there at the PEMEX facility. This is a massive facility that is in Deer Park with Mexican origins as well. A lot of people may be familiar with the history of this facility too, there in what we have come to know as Refinery Row in Deer Park, Baytown as well. Speaking of Baytown, I noticed that people were asking, what about Baytown? Is there a shelter in place there? No, there is no shelter in place in effect for Baytown. This is solely for Deer Park residents. But a shelter in place earlier for some folks in Pasadena, that has been lifted. But if you live in Deer Park, or you have family or friends who live in Deer Park, they need to shelter in place at this time. Another question that I saw, people said a chemical release. Is this above ground, underground? We're working to find out more information from you, awaiting an update from emergency responders, hopefully as well from PEMEX too. Once we learn that information, we will of course pass it along to you. Just to recap for you, we have one person who has died after this chemical release of hydrogen sulfide, one person who was hospitalized, several others injured. We saw quite the emergency response this evening as well. We're going to continue to gather more information and bring you updates just as soon as we can. We'll also have more for you tonight on KHRU 11 News at 10.